happy to welcome you tonight, everyone, to our Traveling Thursday. It's exciting to have you join us as we will be traveling to Grenada tonight. So on the screen here with me are Tom and Tiffany. They are actually sitting in Grenada and they're having too much fun, so I actually just muted them. And Irene, our manager. So welcome to everyone, and a special thank you to Tom and Tiffany for enthralling us with Grenada tonight. So we're excited that you want to travel with us to Grenada. And those of you who are usually on these presentations with us already know that I would like to just give you a little bit of an overview of what to expect today. So I'm doing an introduction to Fly and See, talk a little bit about our contests this year. Then we will switch screens and Tom and Tiffany are going to share where's Grenada, how to get there, a little bit about what you can experience and expect from Grenada topside, and then of course diving in Grenada, as well as where can you stay in Grenada. And then at the end, we will finish with a Q&A, and you will hear where we will be traveling in 2 weeks. So a little bit about Fly and See Dive Adventures. There's our team here. We have been in business since 1997, which means, we are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. That means also that there's quite a bit of experience among us. I'm saying 70 years. We pretty much represent all the major dive destinations, liveaboards, resorts, and dive operators worldwide. All the reputable companies that you want to know we have good contracts and good relationships with. We are IATA appointed, which means we have more control over airline tickets that we issue than if we just do it on an airline's website. And many of you have traveled and booked with us before. You know that we do group travel. A lot of our groups are run through dive shops as they host their trips, as well as a few dive travel companies. And then we also do individual trips where you want, when you want, how long you want. And individuals obviously can also join groups when there is space from a dive shop. That is always a possibility as well. That about us, but because of the 25th anniversary, many of you already know that we love to run a contest every month. So this last month in March, we actually had a contest where we asked you to give us the top 2 reasons from you why you love to travel. And we compiled this into a blog post, which you can find on our website, for the top 25 reasons why you and us love to travel. And so obviously there's things about diving in there, and these are just a few things, reasons that you've given us. They're not in any order, but the excitement of a new place, places that we haven't been to. I was intrigued by not needing to cook as a reason to travel, and the beauty of diving, making new friends, and obviously traveling with friends and family to get away from everyday life. For many of us here in Canada, it's also to get away from winter, learn about other cultures and experience new food, meet new sea creatures. And there's lots of them out there depending on where you go. There is definitely something new for you to discover. It also appreciates home. It helps to appreciate home. I think that's a fabulous reason. You will, depending on where you've traveled and you come back home, you go, I sometimes don't know how good it is at home and how grateful I should be. And to dive in warmer waters, obviously a huge reason, and it gives intangible rewards for the soul. I like that reason. We're making memories when we travel, and it's good for our health. So thank you for all your submissions. The draw for this was on March 25th, and Joel Smith was the lucky winner of a $100 gift certificate. This is this month's challenge. We've asked you already in our newsletter, name your 10 favorite ocean creatures you love to dive with. So you can submit that either by email to contest@flyintsea.com. And I believe we don't actually have it up on our Facebook and Instagram pages yet. So that should be happening tomorrow. And then you can just comment on it. And the draw for this contest is on April 25th. And obviously, this is going to be a voting type of contest. So you will find what our top ocean creature is that people love to dive with. I've already seen a few entries, and it's quite interesting and intriguing. Enough about us. Now we are switching gears and hand it over to Tom and Tiffany. Take us to Grenada.
Thank you so much for having us on. We're really excited to share Grenada with those who have attended tonight and those from obviously YouTube once it's posted. We'll begin sharing our screen and hop right into exploring Grenada. So Grenada is known as the wreck capital of the Caribbean. We have over 17 wrecks here, and they vary from, open water certified divers exploring them, the Veronica L wreck, which we'll talk later in the presentation, to all the way up to our advanced only certified wreck dives, which would be like Bianca, which we'll talk about later, as well as those who are professionals. If you really want to go for the more adventurous wrecks, we have our Atlantic wrecks as well. So there's lots to explore in Grenada, and we will dive right in and first give you some background about Grenada. So Grenada is obviously in the Caribbean. We are at the very south end of the Caribbean chain, as you can see, right above South America. So how do you get there? Well,
90 miles from Venezuela, by the way.
Yes, please. So we have direct flights from New York, Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, London, Frankfurt, and Charlotte. Nice and easy to get here from North America. We have two locations. Our headquarters are located at Trouba Bay Resort. We'll talk about resort options later in the presentation. But as you can see in the right side, we have this little airplane guy which notes where the airport is. That's where you'll be landing when you arrive in Grenada. To the right is dive shop number 1. That is our headquarters at Trouba Bay Resort. And then our second shop is located at Spice Island Beach Resort over on Grand Anse Beach, which is Grenada's largest beach and most well known. So the country of Grenada encompasses multiple islands, 3 which are habited. So there's Grenada, which is where we're located, which has the largest population, and then there's Carriacou and Petite Martinique. So we are known as the island of spice due to the history with nutmeg. We also have many spices on island that locals like to use while cooking foods, trying different things. So it's the spice island, basically.
It's also the food island. It's actually, we were ranked as, interesting fact, one of the top foodie islands in the world. Yes. Because of our callaloo, because of our jerk, because our jerk chicken is actually different than the normal jerk, which is not as heavy spiced, but it is beautifully spiced. And we happen to know of a few of the exquisite resorts that you can actually go to that are actually family owned and operated and really fun to go eat at.
Yes, lots of good food. So if you guys like food, you can definitely be a foodie in Grenada and enjoy some delicious cuisine. The official language is English, so it's pretty easy to get around. There is like a Caribbean English, so local to local, maybe a little bit harder to understand.
What?
Which means what's going on. Yep. And so, but for local speaking to travelers, obviously they pronunciate a little bit more for us, so it's very easy to understand, very easy to get around. The local currency is Eastern Caribbean dollar. However, there are a variety of locations that accept the US dollar as well. Pretty easy to do exchanges here, either at airports or once you're on island. It's fairly easy. The capital is St. George's, which is the picture that you see there. That is of the Carnage, which you'll have a lot of fishing boats in. If you like getting local food and you hang out here for a while, you can go to the Carnage in the morning and literally get fish straight from the fishermen. You can see them chopping it up and everything and get a nice deal. So that's the Carnage over there in the city of St. George's. In Grenada in total, we have over 45 beaches and 18 waterfalls. Lots to explore on land, beautiful rainforest terrain. There's 7 ecosystems. If you like to explore, Grenada's got a lot for you to do.
Those mountains, you can actually see a clip of the upper right in that one area that kind of goes into the infinity pool. And it's actually Granny Ting National Park, which is a wonderful, Seven Sisters is an amazing hike that if you like to hike, bring a pair of shoes because there's loads of hiking to do.
Yes. And beautiful waterfalls you can do a picnic at, enjoy the scenery, enjoy the sounds of nature. There's also the Mona monkeys you can see a picture of. Yeah. So there's lots of fun things to do. So these are the land adventures in Grenada, or just different types of adventures. Obviously, if you wanted a more relaxed vacation, there are tons of beaches here for you to have a very relaxing trip. If you more so like the adventurous side, there's tons to do, including ATV tours, biking tours, bird watching, hiking, river tubing, rum distilleries. We have a local craft brewery on island, which is not too far from our headquarters dive shop. There's sulfur springs where you could get a nice mud bath and feel nice and cleansed, get your skin feeling good. And you can even do island hopping. So like we mentioned, the other 2 islands as well, Carriacou and Petite Martinique, much smaller, very beautiful. Also some diving to be had at Carriacou as well. So if you guys wanted to do an extended trip, not only see the big island, but also the smaller islands as well, we definitely recommend that. Grenada is a beautiful country.
And we actually run trips that are really interesting up the coast of the island of Grenada, through the north, into Ile-de-Ron, and then there's a dive operation up in Carriacou that we recommend highly, and we'd actually drop you off there. We hand off, and it's a fantastic 3-dive trip with a snack in the middle and some amazing dives along the way.
Yep. And if you like snacks, once again, Grenada is also very well known for their chocolate. So there are chocolate factories here, delicious chocolates to be had, darks, lights, whatever you like, you're going to find some chocolate that you're going to really like here as well.
And we actually, speaking of agritourism, the actual cocoa estates that Tiffany's talking about were created to be 100% organic, and it's a fantastic process. And another thing along the lines of conservation and environmentalism, the turtle watching Ocean Spirits is a fantastic organization that, if nothing else, if you want to contribute to a wonderful organization that takes care of leatherback turtles and trying to make sure that they continue to have a place to hatch and live, they're wonderful.
Yep. So a little bit more about Ocean Spirits. They do a lot of data collection and conservation work for the leatherback sea turtles, and you can actually volunteer with them during the months of May and June and do like an overnight experience with them where you basically patrol the beaches. And so every 30 minutes you'll walk the beach to see if you find a leatherback turtle nesting, or in June it'll be the hatching, so you'll help the baby turtles basically find the water. So if you guys are interested in getting connected with Ocean Spirits and volunteering with them, we definitely recommend it. It's an awesome organization on island. So like we said, lots of things to do, whether you like to relax or go explore. Obviously, our personal favorites are going to be in the underwater world, where there's the diving and snorkeling. Lots to explore here. So we just wanted to show you a plethora of the underwater experiences to be had, and just a little bit of the culture at Aquanauts as well. So the next slide we'll get more into the dive sites, but this is just a general overview of all the fishes. There's purple rain, which is beautiful with the Creole wrasse, making you feel like you're just swimming through a school of fish. Lots of macro life here. You also get some sharks, like mostly nurse sharks. We do get some black tip reef sharks as well. We do lionfish tacos event. We're going to be having one for Earth Day. So that's the picture at the bottom where you see our dive master Crispin.
We actually promote lionfish culling and making sure that, and most of the fish is actually donated to the local brewery, where they have lionfish taco and lionfish and chip meals, and they actually contribute back 50% of the proceeds to continue the fishing and culling of lionfish. You'll find that most of our sites are actually pretty clean.
Yep. And so for those of you who may not know, lionfish are invasive species in the Caribbean. So they're eating twice their body weight every single day. So it is a conservation initiative to basically make sure that we're sustaining the healthiness of our reefs. As you see a statue picture to the left of Crispin, that's the underwater sculpture park. We have the world's first underwater sculpture park, which was created by Jason DeCaires Taylor. He's a British artist who has since created multiple statues around the world. You'll find them in Mexico, Indonesia, Europe. So this is actually the first one is in Grenada. So it's a lot of fun to explore. We have over 75 sculptures, and they're actually in the process of trying to add another one this year as well.
Samuel L. Jackson's Enslaved series are actually going to be adding to it. There's a lot of misinterpretation of the original circles of children that they were referring to the emancipation, whereas Grenada was a slaveholding island, and it actually was, the whole point and purpose of it was unity, to be able to bring people together. They're all holding hands. And so Samuel L. Jackson's actually contributing the other side of that.
Yep.
So it's understood.
Yep. So great things to be
fun underwater art.
Yes. Talking more about diving in Grenada. So as we mentioned earlier, we have over 17 wrecks in Grenada, and as you can see, over 30 reefs systems as well. So we have the Atlantic Ocean, which is over by that #1 shop, down on the south end of Grenada, and along the east coast of Grenada is all the Atlantic Ocean. On the west coast and up to the north is the Caribbean Sea. Most of our diving is on the Caribbean side. We do have a handful of dives over on the Atlantic as well. The Atlantic definitely is get some drift, so it is your more sporty dives. The Caribbean's a little bit more relaxed. We do have a lot of drift diving here as well, so if you like to kind of chill, get to see your reef while you're coasting through it, it's a lot of fun to be had here.
We also have some when she says sporty, the Atlantic wrecks, we've seen S's in the rope that we tie to the wrecks with, so that you have a high current, a middle current, and a low current. And sharks, of course, and eagle rays and devil rays and other things swimming about while we're trying to descend down these slightly sportier lines. On the Caribbean side, being that it's leeward, you don't see the kinds of current, and so you have very soft, gentle reefs. You can actually see on a lot of this, there's 3 distinct lines. So if you see the number 12, let me move to the number 12, there's a reef system that runs all the way down the middle. You see the number 23, there's actually a reef system that runs down through that. You see the number 13, there's a reef system that runs slightly closer. And the reef systems in Grenada are really fascinating. They're rich, dense, beautiful, and they're dynamic. So as you work your way through a single reef system, you'll go from beautiful swaying soft corals to gorgeous black gorgonian fan corals into stunning plate corals that are just leave you with valleys and all kinds of topography along the way. So it's really amazing diving as far as that kind of stuff is concerned. Stuff that when you're seeing some of the other places in the Caribbean that are bleached out, knocking wood here, we're not seeing any of it. It's very healthy and very alive. When you get up to our marine protected area, it gets, which is the north end of this, those dives are amazing because it's opulence. Everything is packed into one site, and you see my beautiful garden eels. They're lovely. They are my garden eels. And then you see the beautiful you see all the beautiful finger corals. That's where we get a lot of the seahorses, etc. And it just works its way up to these wonderful soft corals. Stunning stuff. It's a lot of fun. You can spend a week just diving in the marine protected area without seeing the rest of the beautiful reef systems. So there's a lot of dynamic diving going on in the world of Grenada.
Great variety. So once again, just like on land for Grenada, whatever you choose, whether you'd rather to have a relaxing or adventurous vacation, the underwater world offers about the same. Whether you want a more relaxing dive vacation or a more adventurous dive vacation, we have a wide variety of experiences to be had here.
This is Bianca. This is the crown jewel of Grenada's diving. Her bow lays at about 105 feet or 31, 32 meters. Her stern sits at about 35, 36 meters. And the pool itself sits at 40 meters. In this picture, it's really neat because you can see in the background between the V, you can actually see her pool. And it's the pool of a 200-meter luxury cruise liner that sank in 1961. And that Christ of the Deep, which was the statue that you saw in the sculpture park, was actually donated to the people of Grenada because of the work that they did in the community to save the people from the Bianca Sea and ensure that they all lived through the day. So it's an amazing story that it's just worth listening to. Come on down, you can actually listen to that part of it. But as far as the dive is concerned, we actually tie off on the bow at 105 feet. We begin our descent. It is advanced. We begin our descent when you get to the bottom at about 25 meters, 30 meters, you start to see this monster just open up at the bottom, and it's really just a beautiful dive. And then we have a stunning reef to the left of it that sits at about 25 meters and then begins to shallow up to a bit, and you can actually, where you can off gas, and you're dealing, it's called Wibble's Reef. And it's just a really fun dive so that you can go do the gas and then off gas. And because we are a technical diving facility, if you really want to spend some time exploring, we can also do that as well.
And then this is Veronica L. Rec. She is beautiful for open water diver. She is one that you would love to explore. She sits at 55 feet max depth, which is about 17 meters. She's sitting upright, as you can see, and she's not just a wreck with no real growth on it. She is covered in corals and fishes and life. She's not only beautiful during the day, but she is gorgeous at night. Tons of life. This is where we do most of our night dives. We'll explore Veronica L or Trouba Bay Rec for our night dives, and they're just gorgeous. My personal favorite is actually Veronica. Very easy dive, relaxing. She's one of our checkout dives, so we typically try to give that as your first dive when you come to Grenada, just so you can get comfortable, explore, and see tons of life. So this one is a lot of fun. Once again, a very relaxed dive and beautiful to explore.
And if you want to just create a challenge to it because you want to create a challenge to it, Trouba Bay is not that far away, and there's this beautiful plate coral system that actually runs between the two. So it's a lovely dive to spend an hour on. And that is what a Grenadian reef looks like.
Yeah, so like Tom has been, like Tom was saying, we get tons of coral, tons of different coral species, from your soft corals, your hard corals, tons of color, life, a lot of fun. These reefs really are healthy and beautiful to explore for all types of divers, whether you've traveled all around the world and are looking for a new destination to explore, or you haven't traveled much and you're just looking for a new place that might be fun. This is a really beautiful reef system that'll keep you engaged, whether you're into the macro life or the more big creatures. She has a lot to
offer. Or if you just want to watch the entire universe rotate around you. It's really difficult for us because we're constantly keeping an eye on the macro while watching the big stuff floating by, while checking out the beautiful reef systems. It's a 3D thing. Yeah. A lot of fun.
Taking us a little bit more now, nearly coming in, talking a little bit more about our operation and Aquanauts Grenada. So this is where our headquarters are located. We have dock access for our 3 boats, Salsa, Soca, and Calypso. Calypso is our largest boat, Salsa is our medium size, and Soca is our smallest one. All 3 very fun with space.
Depending on the size of the group, we really can accommodate just about anything. Yeah. We can dedicate all 3 boats to a group, which we have a few of those this year, and we can actually specialize and segregate the specialties that people want to go after. So it really creates a lot of fun. Everybody gets the dive vacation that they want, yet you have a wonderful place where everybody can meet back at and spend the time socializing and discussing, because what you see off behind you with those tarps, they look like sort of circus tent thingies, is the Dodgy Dock, which is the restaurant. So you can obviously walk, it's a very short walk to the restaurant, or to the left is the deco chamber, which is a wonderful place to hang out and have a couple of beers. And
it's a bar. It's not an actual deco chamber, just so that everyone understands. That was more of a fun play on words that the owners of True Blue had inspired the bar for, since it's directly across from the shop, the dive shop. So this is Trouba Bay Resort. Just so you guys get a general overview of the layout of, we have a better picture for the layout of the resort, but just so you know what you're looking at, these rooms right here are the waterfront suites. Back here we have the tower suites, and then you have the standard rooms down below along this area, and then here are the indigo rooms, which are also your standard rooms as well. And then to the left, which will have a better picture to show the property, but just so you guys see where you're at. And then the dive shop is obviously right here, where we have our shop and where we'll be storing your equipment while you're diving with us. So basically you go down for breakfast, have breakfast at the Dodgy Dock, walk along the docks, come check in, say hi to our shop attendant, and then join us on the boat. So a little bit about our shop. We obviously offer snorkeling, scuba diving, courses, tech diving, adaptive diving. So this is a general overview. We do have another slide that goes more in depth, which will go more in depth into the rebreather and the tech, which for those that are interested in learning more about that, this is just a general overview. So we do all the things that are listed there. She'll be about the boats, and then we'll get into the tech stuff.
Our boats are beautiful, gorgeous. It's a wonderful fleet. You can see that Calypso, which is the furthest, this guy, 43 feet, seats 16 quite comfortably. The boat next to it, you can see that we've got awnings across, fly bridge up top. The next boat is Salsa. Salsa seats 12 quite comfortably. And she's our workhorse. She runs out into the Atlantic very well. And then, of course, you've got Soka, which is sort of our tech boat and our fun runner. She sits at about 32 feet. And all three boats have Yanmar 350s in them, straight sixes, really reliable boats. Get us from A to Z very comfortably. Soka, we can run around the island and get up into the north pretty quickly.
Yep. And as you guys can see from the amenities on board, they provide for a very comfortable diving experience. We have freshwater showers, toilets, hand sanitizer, camera tables, and camera rinse. So you have the fresh water for your cameras, and then the platforms and the ladders. Sun and shade spots, so you get your choice if you'd rather get some color while you're here, or protect yourself if you got sunburnt the day before. You got options on our boat.
Now we can talk about all the fun of diving with Aquanauts. Yes. The big one is free nitrox. If you're not certified, we highly recommend it before coming here. Work with your local dive operator, get the nitrox certification. We run 30% for the simple reason that gives you an MOD of the maximum recreational depth, so you can dive everywhere in Grenada. The big thing is the profile that it gives you when you have everyone diving on nitrox. We have a maximum bottom time of 60 minutes. And if everybody's on nitrox, the odds are we're going to hit it. So it's a fantastic thing. I'll let Tiffany talk about what our valet or diva diving is.
So yeah, we offer a valet diving experience, or what we like to call quote unquote diva diving, where you get to literally just enjoy your trip without the work. And so basically day one, you'll bring your dive equipment down to the shop, and that'll be the last time you'll have to lug it around for the week. We will take care of the rest. The only thing you'll have to carry on and off the boats due to COVID protocols is your regulators. Other than that, we'll take care of your BCD, your wetsuits, your fins, your masks. We'll rinse them off, and then we'll also store them in our guest equipment room. So you really just get to relax and enjoy your experience without the lugging of equipment or having to remember things, moving things around. So yeah, you get a very casual and comfortable experience with us. As
far as tech and rebreather support plus courses, yes, we do. We are a TDI operation. So we also have people that can dive to 100 meters on rebreather. We can do 50 meters on open circuit. And we have a number of guides that can help you dig into all of the technical aspects of what there is to dive if you like diving technically. We do have helium in stock locally. We do have 100% O2 in stock locally. And as far as courses are concerned, if there's anything you want to pick up while you're there, we are a PADI, SSI, SDI, TDI, and we actually are super proud of the fact that we have 2 HSA instructors. I'm one of them. And the fact that we actually believe that everyone deserves to be able to dive. And so we go out of our way to make sure that everyone, no matter who you are, has the ability to get on the boats, has the ability to dive with us, and we make sure that everybody has fun.
Yep.
And it's safe,
yes,
I might add.
Safety is definitely our top priority. So we like to obviously enjoy our sites, have a great time, but ensure your safety throughout the experience. For those of you who may have DIN regulators, we do have DIN valves on our tanks, 12 liters or 80 cubic feet. Yoke and DIN are available. We also have adapters as well for those, for any reason if you were to need that. All of our rental equipment, Scuba Pros, you're going to be nice and comfortable. We have the underwater camera rentals and the underwater scooter rentals for anybody who's interested in zipping around, doing some flips underwater and all the fun things and having fun underwater. So as our schedule goes, we run daily 2-tank morning boat trips, which basically means that, as you noticed in the previous slides, most of our dive sites are in the Caribbean. So when we leave, check-in is at 8:30 a.m., then we board the boats, we depart the docks, and we go out for 2 dives in the morning, and then we come back in time for lunch. You can enjoy your lunch. If you're interested in the 1-tank afternoon trip, we can do those by demand, and those are typically on the Atlantic side where you'll explore Shark Reef or Lighthouse Reef. A lot of fun. Like I said, drift dives, but they're really fun, really beautiful. And then we also have, by demand, the sunrise dives and night dives. So we like diving. If you like diving, we can get diving on the schedule, and we can take you out for whatever time you're really feeling, however many dives you want to go for. As you can see, our minimum requests, but we are happy if you guys wanted to, if you were traveling by yourself or as a couple pair, and you guys wanted to do a night dive, just let us know in advance, and we are happy to reach out to our local divers as well and see if we can put a trip on the books for you guys. So now talking more about the resorts and the location. So our headquarters is located at Trouba Bay Resort. This is a overview of their entire property. So as you can see, they have a wide range of room options as far as your standard rooms, which are the Indigos, the True Blue, and the True Blue, yep. And then you have your suites, which are the tower suites, the waterfront suites, and you also have, and the Cocoa Pods, and you also have the villas as well. They have 4 pools on property, one of which is a nice infinity pool with a great beach, and then the other one to the left has the nice Grenada sign, which you can take some nice pictures with your friends, show that you're in Grenada. And then the other pools, one is in between the Cocoa Pod rooms in the back. The other one is over by the True Blue standard room. So depending on where you are on property, you have a great option for relaxing by a pool. As you can see on the right-hand side, they have the Hobie Cats, kayaks, and paddleboards. So if you have any non-diver friends who are still interested in adventuring, obviously we gave you guys the wide range of land adventures, but also at Trouba Bay Resort, you have the access to Hobie Cats, kayaks, and paddleboards. Yoga classes daily. I actually personally teach the ones on Wednesday nights. If you guys are interested in joining me for a slow flow vinyasa class after diving all day, or obviously your non-diver friends want to have a nice relaxing night before your Street Food Wednesday festival, which is a lot of fun. They bring in street food vendors, so the Dodgy Dock restaurant basically turns into local foods that are delicious. Definitely recommend you pencil that in during your trip, so you know for sure Wednesday night is going to street food night.
We did it last night.
Yes, and it was a lot of fun. Another one of our resorts, which we have our second shop located at, is Spice Island Beach Resort. So for those who are interested in the book a trip and forget about it all, you don't have to worry about anything. This is your all-inclusive luxury resort located on Grand Anse Beach. They have over 64 luxury villa-style suites, which are very comfortable, beautiful, all-inclusive, so you have some really good food. I've heard from guests about how they just can't eat anymore because everything is just so delicious. They also have weekly yoga classes, which I teach, so you can join me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8. So I teach 4 times a week, so 3 times at Spice Island Beach Resort, 1 time at Trouba Bay Resort, so if you guys want to do some yoga classes, you can let me know. So at Spice Island Beach Resort, we actually facilitate the water sports equipment for guests, so you have free access to the Hobie Cats, kayaks, paddleboards, and snorkel equipment during your stay, which is also included with their sister resort, which we'll talk about next, is Blue Horizons Garden Resort. So if you're interested in having a more private stay but still access to hotel amenities, Blue Horizons is a great option. You basically have your personal, the self-catering room is what it's called. So you have your own kitchenette in there, you have your rooms. Those with kids, you get a private room, so it's like a 2-bedroom kind of deal. You can enjoy your space, but still have that where basically if you wanted to cook your own meals, you totally could. Blue Horizons is actually right by IGA, which is our local grocery store.
And Antonio's Pizza.
Which is great pizza. So you have a lot of options and freedom while you're staying at Blue Horizons Garden Resort, and you still have access. It's probably a 5-minute walk over to Grand Anse Beach, and then because it's a sister resort to Spice Island Beach Resort, you still have access to a lot of the amenities that their guests have for a cheaper rate. So you still get access to the Hobie Cats, kayaks, paddleboards, and snorkel equipment. So that's another great option for your stay.
And the good news. Dun,
yes.
dun, dun, dun.
This is something we are very excited to share.
This week on Monday, it was Monday.
Today's 6th? It was the 7th.
Yeah.
2 days ago, the COVID protocols have been dropped. So you have basically normalcy has come back for Grenada. So for vaccinated and unvaccinated travelers, there are no more COVID tests to come on island. There are no more health declaration forms, no more quarantine, and masks are not mandatory around island anymore. So if you wanted to roam around freely, like as if it was 2019, you can do that. So it's super
like
easy. So contact your tour operators, fly and see, book your trip, secure your flight, and you don't have to worry about anything other than your local returning to your home destination. Yep. So it's super easy to come visit Grenada, relax with ease, explore the wreck capital of the Caribbean, explore the rainforest terrain, the warm weather, the beaches, the waterfalls, all the fun things without having to worry about all of your travel protocols.
Good news is returning is super easy, actually, as far as getting, if you're, wherever you're staying doesn't offer or have a way of being able to accommodate testing for returning, we're happy to accommodate that for you. Mm-hmm. And there's a place that Tiffany has lots of.
So I'll further explain. So if you're staying at Trouba Bay Resort or Spice Island Beach Resort, the hotel will actually help arrange on-site COVID testing for your return.
That does not interrupt your diving.
That does not interrupt your diving. So you can plan it around your diving. If you weren't staying there, you stayed somewhere else, and you guys are diving with us, I actually get a coupon for a cheaper rate for the COVID test at the Fit for Life Medical Center. So just let us know that you had to get a COVID test before returning back to your home country, and I'd be happy to give you guys that voucher, so then you can take that to your appointment for your test. So then that's only $56 US for the rapid test. So it's pretty inexpensive, especially because you have no testing to get here.
Certainly by US standards,
yeah.
Really inexpensive.
Yeah. So,
and it actually comes back with a quick result.
Yes.
So you're not strapped up hoping that you make your flight.
Yeah, like literally the experience for the rapid test is you go have your appointment. We recommend going there very early, so that would be potentially non-diving day. But yeah, 8 a.m. you go there, you go get tested. The whole experience will take about 30 minutes where you pay for your test, you get tested, you wait for 20 minutes, and they'll have a printed document for you showing your test results, and that's what you need to go back to the airport. So super easy.
PCR or antigen?
Yes.
Your choice.
And questions. So we'll open it up for Q&A.
All right, Tom and Tiffany, awesome. Thank you so much. That just makes it super intriguing. And I believe there's a number of questions that are already there. And I would encourage all the participants to just put their questions into the chat. And Irene, our manager, will just read them off, ask them to Tom and Tiffany. And all of this, by the way, before I forget to say this, it is being recorded. When you go go to our YouTube channel or to our website, you find a link to the YouTube channel, and you can see all the recordings of all the webinars that we've already had there. If you're trying to figure out, is this a place for me? This is a great way to gauge that and find out some more information. And this one is probably going to be on our YouTube channel sometime next week. So Irene, take it away.
John is asking, what is diving and the weather like in the last half of May, first half of June?
Yeah, we are entering our dry season. So what you will find is normally we have during the rainy season, we have two seasons, rainy season and a dry season. And during the rainy season, you'll find that it rains every night for a couple of hours and we have dry days. During the dry season, it doesn't rain at night. So what does happen is that the breezes tend to calm down a lot by June. And as far as the Caribbean side is concerned, it really does settle down nicely. And this is, of course, dependent on what's going on in the northern Atlantic as to storms, etc. But for the most part, the diving, as the atmosphere begins to pull the energy out, which is what happens from June till November, pull the energy out of the southern half of the Atlantic, our diving just gets better and better and better. So end of May, beginning of June is really the kickoff of really some very nice diving.
Anne is asking, what is scuba yoga?
Awesome. So scuba yoga is basically, you're going to learn the best way to put it. So you're going to learn about the 8 limbs of yoga and how the benefits of yoga can actually positively impact your scuba diving experience. So what we would cover is breathwork exercises that help with your gas consumption. And then there are different stretches that'll help eliminate any like back pain that you would experience from scuba diving or any other bodily uncomforts. So we teach you some of those postures. There's meditation exercises that you'll learn to basically slow down your heart rate. So then you can, one, kind of tune into the underwater environment a little bit more, as well as that helps with your air consumption too. So scuba yoga is basically taking the benefits of yoga and helping to maximize your scuba diving experience.
Brad is asking, what kind of scooters do you rent?
Subgravity. So there you go. They're very nice. They're actually very comfortable subgravity. We have 4 of them in stock, and you're happy to take them out. They do very well in our currents. We have no problems with 2 hours battery time. And so basically you'll get a 2-tank trip out of them. And if you're sitting with side mount gear or twins, it makes life very comfortable.
Byron is asking, is there shore diving from the resorts?
That's a resort question. The reason I say it like that is that from True Blue, the answer is no. From Spice, the answer is yes. So on our Spice Island location, we do have shore diving. That's Grand Dance Beach. Mm-hmm. And so you can actually go up and down. We also have these nifty little boats called Tekka-Cats that have an 18 horsepower outboard engine. And what they fundamentally are is a catamaran with a stand-up paddleboard in the middle of them, and they're really easy to get on and off. What it allows for is some really fun adventure dives. So that with a very small group of a couple of people, we can run offshore, we can go out into some of the deeper reefs, and we can dive as long as you want to dive. Mm-hmm. So this is how we do we enable 3-hour rebreather dives, or we'll do 95-minute tech dives in just some fantastic reefs, because we have the coordinates, we just need to hit the spot. Tekka-Cat's the thing T-A-K-A-C-A-T. Easy Google search.
Gary is asking, does Spice Island Beach Resort have their own boats?
So our boats actually are the ones that come over to Spice Island Beach Resort. So our boats are docked overnight at Trouba Bay Resort. However, for guests that are staying at Spice Island Beach Resort, we do offer transportation. If you have a group of 4 or less, we'll do car transportation. If you have a group of 5 or more, we actually have a mooring set right in front of Spice Island Beach Resort. So we'll bring our boat around to the mooring right in front of Spice Island Beach Resort and do a boat pickup for you guys. And all of your equipment will already be on the boat.
Yep, and Calypso's front end actually drops down so that you have a very comfortable, easy walk onto Calypso from the beach.
Yep, a nice
barely
little
gets your
ramp.
feet. It's a nice little ramp, and then as you come through the bow, all of your gear is set up for you, ready to dive.
Yep.
Wayne has a number of questions, comments. Please comment on the suitability of Grenada as a destination for an extended family holiday. Diving would have to be a minor component. Is Grenada handicapped friendly? Is Zika virus a thing of the past?
Great questions.
Those are all good, so super questions. Let's do the family friendly part. Most of the businesses in Grenada are actually owned by families. As far as the community at large, it is extremely family friendly. It's one of the cornerstones of what is Grenadian. As far as safety is concerned, I mean, don't be silly and leave your wallet in the middle of the street and see what happens. But I feel we're from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I feel much safer here than I ever felt in where we lived.
It's like when you go out to a restaurant. So when I went to school in California, university, we would never leave our phones on a table to mark our table because that phone would disappear in 5 seconds. However, in Grenada, it's a little more relaxed where I've gone to what's called the Container Park, which is right across the street from the university, St. George's University. And there's been a handful of times where I've left my phone there just to mark the table like my friends and I were there, and it's always there when we get back. So, I mean, like Tom said, don't be silly in certain neighborhoods. However, the island itself is really safe and very family friendly.
Moving on to the Zika, mosquito-borne viruses exist.
They are seasonal. So those come with wet season where you'll have more nesting opportunities for mosquitoes to reproduce. So you'll find that the rates of the viruses would be higher during those seasons. But it's
also more in the arid areas too.
And it's exactly.
So we have seven ecosystems. We have an honest to God rainforest, obviously marine, because we're sitting here having this conversation, but we have an arid area, and the arid areas tend to pick up. So this is, if you think of places like Bonaire, where you have the arid areas have a tendency to pick up more mosquito-borne illnesses. Mm-hmm. Whereas you go into areas that have heavier breezes or slightly damper, you don't find those.
Yeah. Very happy to say that Spice Island Beach Resort is actually handicap accessible, as well as Trouba Bay Resort. So Trouba Bay Resort has 6 rooms that are accessible, including a ramp into your room. You'll have handbars by the toilets in the shower, as well as they'll even lower your bed to make sure that it's easier to get into the bed. Spice Island Beach Resort, I don't know the nitty-gritty details, but I do know that it is accessible. I even had an adaptive yoga practitioner in one of my classes, and he was getting around pretty easily as well. So he had a great experience at Spice. As far as the island is concerned, you will find that there are areas that are accessible, and there are predominantly areas that aren't. There is a accessible taxi driver called King Elvis that has vans that can hold a wheelchair in them, and it actually is really easy and nice, where it's one of the motorized access. So I would say that the island itself is and is not accessible, if that makes sense. There are areas that are accessible and friendly. However, as an island in whole, you would find that it becomes a little bit more challenging to get to the local areas.
But it's for a Caribbean island, it's pretty damn accessible.
Yeah. And so from our dock access, basically a way we would help guests who have accessibility challenges, we are lifting each people into the boats. We our goal is to actually get a chair that will make it much easier to get into the boat. So that'll be in the works in the next few years as well.
Tom is asking, is the resort within walking distance of the town?
So the
Grenadian walking distance.
the city itself, it's not within walking distance unless you're a real walker. For Trouba Bay Resort, you would have access to the university area, which has a lot of food options. If you wanted to get to the city on a budget, I would recommend checking out the local buses, which are basically like minivans. It costs $250 EC for a ride into town, which is about $1 US. And so if you are okay with taking the local transportation, that's a very inexpensive and fun way to go.
Renting a car while you're here is also an easy way of moving around as well. It's left-hand side driving, but it's the traffic is extremely slow and it's very easy.
Don is asking, is there a limit to the number of boats and divers on a particular dive location?
I'll speak to that as I am the president of the Grenada Scuba Diving Association, and so I'll speak to it from that perspective. We all try to avoid each other. We will sometimes call audibles if we pull up on a site and someone else is there. We'll go a little further up or down the reef system. If we're trying to hit some of the wrecks, the answer is we really don't have that many dive operations here to be falling on top of each other. Yeah. There's 6 dive operations on the island of Grenada, 3 up in Carriacou. It's there's not enough of us to crowd each other to death.
And we are the largest dive operation as well. So we have 3 boats, another one has 2, and the others have 1. So we are the largest dive facility on island. So if that puts it into perspective, as well as how many dive boats you actually have going to a particular site each day, it's not much. And there's such a wide variety of sites that it's pretty easy to switch it up, like Tom was saying, and go somewhere else. It's still exciting, but then obviously not crowded.
Okay.
We run a 4-to-1 ratio as far as the divers. We try to keep all divers grouped by experience. 3 things that we look at is certification, experience, and skill.
John is asking, are there flights to Grenada without going through the U.S.?
Yes.
So there is. Right? Toronto. I believe they started back up. I think they just opened back up, or they're just about to open back up. They did halt because of COVID, and I'm not recalling off the top of my head if it's now open or it's opening soon, but Toronto is an option to go through.
Terry is asking approximate distances and travel times to dive sites or any of the walls. If I don't enjoy wreck diving, is there enough reef diving to fill a week?
Yes. Distance and travel time to sites, anywhere from 5 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on where we're going to.
Okay.
So the Atlantic sites, which are mostly the afternoon sites, those take about 5 minutes to get to. Majority of our sites, which are on the Caribbean, take somewhere between 15 to 25 minutes. The longer hauls are when we go up to the marine protected area, which takes between 40 and 45 minutes to go explore, to explore.
As far as reefs to fill a week, not a problem. We have customers who come back every 6 months who are macro people, and all they want to do is dive the reefs. No interest in wrecks whatsoever. We have no problem with that at all.
Julia is asking, do you have sand fleas?
No, you really don't notice them as heavily.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're here. There's no question about it.
Obviously, there's not enough to make us say, oh, yeah, which is a good sign. I would say that's a great question. Not a ton.
Is there a hyperbaric chamber on the island? And if not, where's the closest one?
We have one on island.
Yep.
That makes it actually very easy. It's at SAM, which is a hospital.
St. Augustine's Medical Hospital is Sam's hospital.
And it's
about 20 minutes from our shop, both shops. And we're actually location for the other islands around, including St. Vincent.
Yeah, to go up into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are actually the hyperbaric chamber for everyone up there.
Considering how busy Fly&Sea has become, how early do you need to start booking? And so that's a good question, even ending our evening with, yes, indeed, we have become very busy. So I do want to say, as soon as possible, because we continue to ask people for patience. And yes, if you are far out in like November or even next year, you may need to be a little bit more patient in getting answers, but it takes several steps to make a booking and to get quotes out. So the sooner we know about something that you're interested in, the better it is. And I also want to say, we ask for our fee up front in order to work out a quote for you. That's $150. So just to be prepared, we definitely will talk to you about the various options. But then before we get any further, we ask for our fee up front. I do just want to remind everyone, every booking that you're making with us this year, regardless of when you travel, every booking with us this year is qualifying for entry into our grand prize for a 9-night magic resort divifications in the Philippines. Lots of people have already gained access to this draw. And so with that, I just want to say thank you to Tom and Tiffany for your knowledge and enthusiasm and passion for not just diving, but Grenada and everything that you do. Thank you so much for your time tonight. In 2 weeks, we will be traveling to Australia with Mike Ball Diving, and that will conclude our spring series for our webinars. We will start this back up again in September. So make sure you join us in 2 weeks to travel down under with us to explore the Great Barrier Reef and beyond with Mike Ball Diving. Again, that's going to be in 2 weeks, and look for this recording if you want to revisit some of the details and all the knowledge that we've learned tonight. So thank you very much for everyone for joining us. And again, Tom and Tiffany, thank you so much for your time and expertise. Good night, everyone.
Our pleasure.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having us. Thanks for listening.